Number 7, the slogan, relative bodhicitta. Got it? Number 7, practice sending and taking alternately. This slogan is very familiar, right? Sending and taking, practice sending and taking alternately. So this refers to an extremely important practice. As the great teacher Shantadewa said, whoever wishes quickly to become a refuge for himself and others should undertake this practice, to take the place of others, giving them his own. So this slogan is about how we should train in relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta. This is how bodhicitta begins to grow. If through listening to this explanation of the 7 points of mind training, you come to recognize how important bodhicitta is, because this will be the cause of your enlightenment. That's the thing. Without bodhicitta, no enlightenment. Enlightenment will be yours when you are able to care for others as much as you now care for yourself. So you all know this meditation. But there are 2 aspects. So we need to send out and we need to take in. Sending and taking is very important practice of bodhisattva path. Tong means send, len means take. This is the instruction. This is a method for develop the relative bodhicitta, but also the aspiration bodhicitta, right? So it is the main practice in the development of relative bodhicitta. So usually, you see, we think we need to take others' happiness for ourselves. We think we need to get happiness from others, and we send away our own suffering. So we usually think that we need a kind of fence around ourselves, and then we should put everything in there and keep our sort of goodness there. So we naturally think this way out of habit, right? But from the Buddhist point of view, that is not how we get our happiness. And this sort of, idea is wrong. By the way, today is the first day of the million month, according to Tibetan calendar. So this month actually today is the first month, first day. So this month we call the Millen month, right? It's very important according to Buddhism. Why it is important? Because this is the three things. Buddha Shakyamuni's birthday, Buddha Shakyamuni's enlightenment month, Buddha Shakyamuni's past nirvana. So today is the first, right? So then this seventh is the Buddha Shakyamuni's birthday. And then 15th, enlightenment day. He attended enlightenment, the 15th. Also, this 15th, also his, what do you call it? Yeah, parinirvana. So that's why 3 important days in time in this month. So that means like I have a small request, all of you, if you can, for this month, we are actually the mind training, practice mind training, 7-point of mind training. It's about bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta is about kind mind. It's about love and compassion. So being vegetarian for this month will be really good, if you can. If you cannot, of course, your choice. But if you can, only for this month, don't eat meat. Because when you think about when you eat meat, then indirectly harm others. And sometimes directly, but most of the time, like people say, oh, I go to shop and grocery and then buy a piece of meat, and what's wrong with that? Because I didn't kill, but your motivation is just not correct. So vegetarian this month, if you can, that will be really good. If you cannot whole month, then maybe like 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever you can, maybe like 1 day. But you have to really just correct your motivation. I'm not going to admit today because blah, 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 right? Not for myself, but I really cares others and animals. They are less power than me. So they are very suffering. We all beings, which means we wish, we want happiness. So being vegetarian is really good. That's like, relative bodhicitta, but also you are like practicing like aspiration and application. You think I'm not going to admit because I don't want harm others indirectly, directly. And then also you do it, right? You act, I'm not going to eat meat for this month, at least. So just to let you know that this month will be very important. Only not that, but whatever you can, like practice meditation, whatever you do, something good, something, good for everybody. So that is kind of, if you cares others, and if you care others, you make commitment. I'm not going to harm others. That is Buddhist point of view. That is like how you get your happiness. So Buddha said that we need to increase our motivation of giving our happiness and pleasure to others and taking their suffering upon ourselves. So you see in the 37 practice of Bodhisattva, all suffering comes from the wish for your own happiness. Perfect Buddhas are born from the thought to help others. Therefore, exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of Bodhisattva. It's not easy, but we should try. The more negativity we take in with a sense of openness and with our compassion, the more goodness there is to breathe out on the other side. So there is nothing to lose. Instead, we can receive more. So we begin to develop a sense of joy, love, and satisfaction because we are actually doing something very useful. So there are two different ways to misunderstand this practice. Some people can misunderstand by thinking, if I do tonglen, I do this taking and giving, I will be suffering, I will be miserable, because I will always be thinking about the suffering of others and thinking only of the negative side. So I don't want to think about the suffering of others or suffering of myself. So you might experience a bit of a discomfort if you think that. That is the wrong idea, because the whole point of doing it is to train ourselves to be less egoistic. That is the point, right? The more selfish and egocentric we are, the more greedy and full of desire we become. So if we think about sharing our happiness, we will become less selfish. Our capacity to feel love and compassion for others will grow. That's the thing. At the moment when you start, practice tonglen, taking, giving, and maybe you think this, I don't want to think about suffering or negative side, but that's not the point. The point is to diminish or the selfish, right? Selfish. And some people can misunderstand by thinking that sending and taking cannot possibly have an impact on anybody else's life because it is only a sort of mental experience, mental exercise, mental practice, So even though we practice this, our happiness doesn't go anywhere. And the suffering of other sentient beings does not diminish. So this practice doesn't appear to change anything. Many people think that too, right? However, the essential point is that this giving and taking practice helps to develop and train your mind. It is through mental development that you reach enlightenment. And if your selfishness and ego diminishes, you will be able to take away others' suffering. You have that capacity. For that reason, meditating on Tonglen, the taking and giving, is very necessary. And from a Buddhist point of view, the interconnected nature of everything suggests there will be some impact in others. Just as our selfishness and neediness has an impact on others, our positive attitude will also have an impact on others in a tangible way. For example, powerful Buddhist prayers, the power of these prayers comes through an accumulation of positive intentions and practices. Sometimes we cannot take away suffering with the breath, but you can see that the great intention is very powerful, very powerful. For that reason, sometimes it is possible to have a temporary benefit. And sometimes there is not a temporary benefit, but ultimately there is a great benefit. Because you try to abandon your ego and try to increase your cherishing of others. Eventually, you will experience a great benefit. So there are two ways, misunderstand about this kind of practice. Now, when training and giving away your happiness to others, it is unwise to try to give to all beings, all sentient beings, right from the start. For, all sentient beings, all beings are countless, and your meditation will not be stable. The result of this is that you will not get much benefit from the practice. So you should practice with a specific being that you really want to be happy. Or you should think about a specific animal that is going to be killed or something, So when you think of it not like, I always say, not like you watch a movie, movie over there, you're here. You have to sort of visualize really yourself in his place and think, if this is you, what should you do? Or what can you do in order to escape this kind of suffering? It helps if you put yourself in their place and then visualize that is you, that is suffering. So in order to feel compassion, you have to know others' suffering. That's the thing. The only way to learn how others suffer is to learn how you yourself suffer. So there is no other way to get this kind of knowledge. I can't go into your mind, right, and experience your suffering directly. I can only know your suffering through on my experience. If you see your own mind in this way and don't have compassion for yourself, how can you have compassion for others? If you judge yourself as responsible for your ignorance. You probably will see others in the same way. So it is important first to learn compassion for yourself. And once you begin this kind of process, you will come to an understand of how that suffering feels. And by using this kind of method and practicing like this, you can develop your compassion for others. And it also helps to gradually come to see all beings as equal, with no difference between you and them. That's the thing. By thinking like this, we will understand the suffering of others. And it helps us to not have the desire to harm them and eat their meat. So this is a method to help people who have difficulty in cultivating compassion. And sometimes it's nice to say the prayers, right? Prayer from your heart, and gently turn your attention to what things you like to do for others, and develop that good attitude in your mind. As you continue to practice compassion in this way, it becomes more real, more sort of, it becomes tangible. Then you can, at that point, then you can begin to expand your practice to others more and more. Until then, you have to meditate this Tonglen, this bodhicitta, either yourself or someone who really and you care. So you meditate compassion, you're thinking about others' suffering, you bring that suffering in your situation, and then really you feel the compassion. Compassion is there, you feel, So sometimes we think about, sometimes I think about, the animals who I watch these things and then kill, very suffering, right? So I have compassion for sure, compassion for them. But sometimes I'm a little bit sort of, what do you call it? Angry, with these killers. Why you do that? I say, why you do that? That's wrong, right? That's wrong, really. We should also compassion for those people or whatever who is making this and really others suffering. So this instruction, right? Instruction how to practice only give and taking.